Today on Tool Talk, we're talking about pocket hole jigs, and like I said, the whole point of this Tool Talk series is for me to build some type of library that I can point people in the appropriate direction for the very common tool questions that I get, the most frequently asked questions I get. So all three of these pocket hole jigs are the Kreg brand, but I have no affiliation with Kreg. They've sent me some free stuff before, but I make no money off of their sales, and they've never paid me anything. Unless, of course, you buy through my Amazon link and all that good stuff. So let's talk about these jigs. This is the smaller pocket hole jig, the Kreg Mini. No, it's the Kreg Junior. Kreg Junior or Kreg Mini. I'll put the correct one on the screen. But this is their single pocket hole jig. This is just one single hole, not the two side by side that you clamp on the end of your material. So this is very handy. I've used this way more than I thought I would, especially in my previous job. I was maintenance at an apartment complex, and this little guy really came in handy a lot more than I thought it would. It comes with the jig itself, a drill bit, a stepped drill bit, and one of these drivers. And I think that was like 20 bucks. Could be wrong, but would I buy it again? Absolutely. It's a relatively inexpensive investment, and like I said, this has come in handy a lot more so than what I thought it would. Also, like if you're starting to assemble your project and you forget that, crap, there's supposed to be a pocket hole right there, and you can't fit the somewhat assembled piece into the jig, an actual pocket hole jig, then you can clamp this to the material and just drill it and save the day. And yeah, I recommend it. Inexpensive investment, and it's really nice. This is the this is the Kreg K4. They have a newer one, the K5. I've never used it, so I can't speak of it. But this right here, just the blue part, is the K4. It's mounted to a board with some material support. I've put a lot of miles on this thing. I've drilled a ton of holes. I purchased this for like $99, I think, back in 2008, 2009-ish. Somewhere around that time. It works today the same way as it did back then. The hardened steel bushings, I think that's what they are, sleeves. There's very little play in here. It works just fine, just like it did previously. So it's durable, everything. The clamp works just fine. It's a little rusty from here in my shop, but nothing a little lubrication you can't handle. So what I like, what I don't like, would I buy it again? It does the job just fine. I can't find a single complaint about it. It does the job just fine, never let me down. And yes, I would buy it again. It's just very handy. And pocket holes, they have a certain purpose in the shop. Definitely great for cabinet face frames and stuff like that. So, although I haven't used pocket holes in quite a while, and I'm not anti-pocket hole, it's just I have other options. So this, like I said, is mounted to a piece of, I think this is 7/8 of an inch shelving. Totally recommend you guys do this if you have one of these K4s or K5s for extra material support. But if you do, this is just a piece of 2x4 that I've ripped down to the same thickness as the bed of the jig. But if you do, leave some space in between the material support and the jig, because if you're using this without dust collection, all the dust and chips will end up piling right here, affecting your registration from the material to the jig. So if you just brush it away, well, then it just ends up right next to the jig on the material support, which is still in the way. Having some type of little ditch or something for it to go into would be very convenient to just get it out of the way. So definitely recommend doing this piece of shelving with two holes in here. You can hang it on the wall. And on this side, I drilled some holes for the drill bit storage and then the driver bit storage, but I marked some high contrast lines with some marker. That way, even if I'm not even looking at the holes, I know where they're at because the marker tells me where they're at. So just a little quick convenience tip there, I guess. And they store into there just fine. I've never had them fall out. And you can see them regardless of where you're at. You can see the locations regardless of where you're at. So would I buy this again? Yes, I would. It's very handy. It's never let me down. And it's very durable. This is the Kreg Foreman. It's their least expensive model. I think it is. I know they've got some more expensive ones. This thing is about $400. I did not pay for it. It was sent to me before it actually hit stores. They contacted me and said, "Do you want one?" Sure. Back then I was making a lot of pocket hole projects. So that's that. couple things I have wrote down. What I like about it, what I don't like about it, would I buy it again? Which I didn't buy it. What I like about it, it is so fast. Once this thing's dialed in for the material you're working with, it is crazy, crazy fast. This is a relatively fast way to make pocket holes, certainly faster than this, but this thing's crazy, crazy fast. I mean, it's just, you're done with the pocket hole and you move to the next one. So it's one thing I like about it, it's crazy fast. One thing I like about it also is the fence is very nice. There's some adjustment marks right here on both sides to where you just set it to the material thickness. It's toolless operation. You just twist these knobs and the fence is dialed in. It's not going to move. It's never moved on me. A couple other things that I like about it is they have these toolless to retract and get out of the way and all that stuff. So you can activate them or get them out of the way without any tools. But you do have to have a tool to lock it in for a certain width. But these are stops, so you can reference off of the same distance from each side of each piece of material you're working with. So you have 100 of these to cut or whatever it is, and you have a pocket hole here, then those stops will allow you to push it up against one side, make a pocket hole, let go here, push it up against the next one, make a pocket hole. So every piece will be consistent with one or the other. I really like these, and like I said, you don't have to have any tools to get them out of the way, so then you just make pocket holes wherever. Very handy. What else do I like? The dust collection is great. There's just a shop vac port down here in the back that you hook up a shop vac to, and the actual cutting bit area right below the table has a dust shroud with a hose that goes to the back over here, and mine's not hooked up. But if you don't have dust collection, you can remove this hose completely and just use it as normal, and then this dust shroud puts the vast majority of the dust. I was quite surprised at how much of the chips stay below the table, but that shroud puts them in a nice little neat pile that you can sweep up once you're done. Some dust still comes up on the top of the table, some dust and some chips without a dust collection hooked up to it, but I was very surprised with that. It's easy. Something else I like is easy to change the bits, which how often you change the bits shouldn't be often. But anyway, there's a pin in here that removes the motor. It slides out from these, or releases the motor, and it'll slide off of these shafts, and you can change the bit and put it back on. Something I don't like about this table, it's kind of hard to open up, and the motor is just supported on these steel shafts. So as I push it down, I feel the whole motor just wiggling around in there, like kind of, I'm not going to say violently, but enough to where I'm just kind of, I don't want it to happen because I don't know how much long term that's going to be a problem. I don't know. Probably over exaggerating that. What I don't like about it, two things. Number one, I've broken so many bits with this thing. I don't know if it's something I'm doing or it's just because I'm running a ton of pocket holes. But this particular machine uses the bits that have the hex attachment on one side, and they have a stepped bit on the top, and the stepped part, the small part on top, is what I always break off. Now Kreg has been nice enough to, every time that I've broken one, they've seen it on social media or whatever, and they've sent me some new ones. So I don't know if that's a J only thing or if they send replacements for other people breaking theirs. I don't know. But if you have any experience with breaking a bit and then bringing that broken bit to their attention, let us know if they replace them for you guys or not. I don't know. I don't know if it's a J thing or an everybody thing, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I've broken more bits than what I thought would be normal, is why I'm bringing that up. So this one, like I said, it was before it hit the shelves, so this one was a pre-production model or a first run production model, I think. So I don't know if some of these things have been ironed out or whatever, but just figured I'd throw that out there. My biggest complaint with this machine is the fact that it's right hand only. It drives me nuts. I'm right-handed. However, the way that this works is the handle comes down, the bit goes out, drills the hole, and the clamp all work at the same time. So that's how it works. That's why it's so fast. And also, if you're storing this thing, the handle does lock out of the way, so you don't have to have like all this space to store it. So the handle's right hand only, and why I hate that is because if you're using, like, I noticed this when I was making some cabinets. If you're using a piece of plywood for the panel, let's say this is a piece of plywood, and on this corner I need a pocket hole. So I've got some plywood in my way, and in order for me to activate the handle, I either have to use my left hand upside down, which is kind of not convenient and ergonomically friendly at all, but if like the table's in my way, then it just makes it more difficult and you end up pulling the thing. Or if the material's in the way, it's not convenient at all. So what I end up doing is just holding it with my left hand and being Spider-Man over here and trying to do this. It's so inconvenient when you have the material hanging off the right side of the table. I think I'm getting out of frame here. More so than if you are on the left side, and you can just use it like normal. So that's my biggest gripe, is this thing being a right hand only machine. It would be so much easier, problem solved, if you did it like, if it was pistol grip style, maybe a little bit forward. I think that would be the easiest way to do it, to where your finger still activates the trigger and your thumb still activates the safety, because here you have a safety and then your trigger. So maybe this way would be more beneficial. I don't know why they didn't do that. There probably is a reason, but having it right hand only is a huge pain in the butt. Even if it's the same exact handle, it would make more sense to put another trigger on the opposite side, to use your left thumb for the safety, and then your left index finger for the trigger. So that's my biggest gripe. I can't stand that part of it. It's been crazy inconvenient in the few times that it has come up. And I think a simple design change could solve all that. So that's that. Would I buy it again? Like I said, I did not buy this. They sent it to me for free. It's about a $400 investment. And I'll answer that two ways. Go back in time about 2 years ago, when I was making a ton of pocket hole projects. Back then, I would buy it. It's if you're doing pocket hole projects all the time, you're using pocket holes all the time, you're doing a lot of cabinets, stuff like that, it's a great time saver. Absolutely is. So back then, probably so, yeah, I would. If I was to replace this shop tomorrow, even working a couple pocket hole projects, I would say no to this until I had something like my miter saw station. That was a crazy amount of pocket holes. Something like that, for me, would justify the purchase of this today. I don't see myself doing anything like this anytime soon, so would I replace this tomorrow? Probably not. I probably wouldn't purchase it with my own money tomorrow without having some crazy motivation in order to do so. And also, something to take into consideration is this is a fourth of the cost of this, and it's not much time saver. This is crazy fast, but this will still do the job just fine. But this and a thickness planer, an inexpensive thickness planer, is the same cost as this. So take that into consideration. Another quick food for thought here. This is not me speaking, but I have no experience with the Kreg K4. However, a lot of feedback. As a matter of fact, every single person I've talked to with the Kreg K4 who has also used the Porter cable pocket hole jig every single one has preferred the Porter cable version that I've talked to. Keep in mind, it's also twice as expensive as the K4. So if you're in the market for one of these smaller pocket hole machines or pocket hole jigs and don't want to step up to a machine within budget, it might be wise to also give a thought to the Porter cable brand. They make one that apparently a ton of people really, really like. Never used it, can't speak for it, but I did want to throw that out there. Covered all my notes. So hopefully I covered everything. If I haven't, let me know. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer those. That's it. Hope you guys enjoy. Take care and have a great day. I'll talk to you next time.